RTI.
The Station of the Stars. RTI.
Welcome! It's a Friday. Welcome. This is Radio Tatras International, the Station of the Stars, and we've got 2 stars and 1 not-so-good star, if you see what I mean, on the programme today. Lots of snow on the beautiful mountains here in Poprad. Some quick hellos to do. Hi to Alex and Jawa and Richard and Julia. Look, I'm trying to wave to both cameras at the moment, which is rather difficult because there's only one of me. But somebody who would wave to the cameras, oh, he's such a lovey. It's Leigh Banks.
Hello. Yes, I can wave at the camera. I'm waving at the camera.
Yes, it's just that nobody can see you at the moment.
I plough my own furrow. I go my own way. If you can see me, you can see me. If you can't see me, I don't care. I'm waving.
I'll tell you what you could do to be nice.
What?
Say hello to Peter and Noreen.
Hello, Peter and Noreen.
There you go.
You. I know a Peter and Noreen. Is it you? Is it you?
I will say hello to Sharon and Dubriden Hanker, and then I'll save one for Rach to do right now because it's Rachel's turn. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I know.
Are you going to survive the show?
That's the plan. I don't know. I've had a weird 24 hours, haven't I, Uncle Eric? 3 a.m.
Yes. I'm sorry. I knew that was going to happen.
That was so
It's go on. Tell everybody what I did.
It was funny, actually, because I've had this dreadful cold, so I haven't been sleeping very well. So I've just been dozing sort of in and out. And my phone started buzzing, and if I wasn't half awake, I wouldn't have heard it. So I was awake, but my phone starts buzzing, and I look at the phone, and it's Skype, and it's Uncle Eric. And I'm like, who's died? It's 3 o'clock in the morning in Australia. Who's died? And I picked up the phone, he goes, hello! And I went, oh, hello. And he said, oh, you don't sound very well. I said, I've got a bit of a cold. You sound tired. What time is it there? I said, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, my God. He says, go back to sleep. And I'm not going back to sleep now. What do you want? Tell me what you want. Oh, it was hilarious.
Whoops.
So funny.
Well, anyway, your job is to say hello to your friend Paul D. Brown.
Paul, he will recognise this voice from my drag queen days when I was Lucifer.
Like you're taking the mickey out of Eric.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, a couple of more quick shout-outs, as they say. Hi to Vanessa, to Dennis, to Shelley, Chris Neary, my old buddy, Sol's there from America, and Terence Garwood is there as well. Very good. So I trust you're all very well. I will now wave to camera 1. I will wave to camera 2, and I think I've got it.
To camera 3.
And Shelley says, hi, Eric. Hi, Shelley. Hi.
Hi, Shelley. Yeah, thanks for saying hello to me and Rachel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Shelley.
No, I'm sorry. We can't play your Christmas song on this programme because we don't play any music on this. But if you'd like to email studio@rti.fm, send an MP3 copy over. It can be done. A very good afternoon to my great friend John Warrington. Lovely man, lovely guy. And he's also got his poppy up on his Facebook profile, which is nice. Dave Rhodes says, I'm going to try and do this in my bestest voice. Hello, gang!
Hello,
Dave. Hey, Dave.
Hear from you, David.
What?
Lovely to hear from you. It's always lovely to hear from Dave.
Yeah. And the boss of the green room's just arrived. Uh-oh, now we're in trouble. AJ's arrived.
Oh, look out.
Look out, we're in trouble now. We've got a ruddy producer
AJ's
here.
on deck. Excellent.
Yes, we've got a producer. Oh, gosh. I'll do some more hellos in a minute.
AJ, can you run me over some peppermint tea? That'd be great.
Just a moment. The whole world goes on pause so that Rachel can say to AJ, can you come over and massage my poor little furrowed brow and bring me some tea, please?
You never mentioned her furrowed brow.
He's closer than you two. It's going to be a lot quicker.
AJ, have you got any peppermint tea you can run over to Rachel in Melbourne, please?
Yes, please. He only lives a handful of suburbs away from me. He can be here all the time.
Oh, my Lord. Hi to Rob, Miranda and Nigel. Let's get on. This is really tough for me to do, to be really honest, because I know one of the family members involved in terms of the dad. And I've known Kevin for many, many years as a radio geezer. He's a fabulous chap, really, really is. And for somebody as smashing as him, to have his daughter struck down with an illness is just horrific in the first place. But unfortunately, little Kelly, it's just horrific that I have to share with you that poor little Kelly has died, and she's been battling this cancer for years. They've been raising money. She's been raising money. She always had a smile on her face, and the people around Dover, which I think the last time I polluted was when I was there with Radio Caroline, broadcasting. But and Kevin was there at the same time as well. He's just so difficult. I am slightly lost for words.
You know what is sad about this? I mean, other than the obvious things, no child should have to raise money for treatment for anything ever.
Mm-hmm.
And
really good point.
They had to go through this whilst she's being sick and getting the treatment that she was able to receive there. They had to go through this enormous, gargantuan task of raising like £1 million, I think they were trying to raise.
Yep.
And no child should have to raise any sort of money for any sort of treatment, for any sort of illness, ever, ever, ever. It
Correct.
shouldn't. It's a thing that's allowed. It just shouldn't.
Carry on from what they just said.
Well, I'm going to butt in a bit. I will emphasise the fact that she had the most amazing attitude all the time.
She did, yeah.
The most amazing attitude. But Leigh, you were going to say something. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yeah, no, I was just going to say I support everything you've both said. And what is particularly sad about this story, and Rachel's just hit the nail on the head, is the fact that this girl had to spend the last years of her life battling to try and stay alive. And that means that the country wouldn't look after her, or it couldn't look after her, or it didn't think it could look after her. For some reason it didn't. And yet people like Hollywood star James McAvoy, the Kaiser Chiefs' Ricky Wilson, they all got behind her, and James McAvoy himself actually gave her £50,000 to try and help her stay alive. And there are always reasons you can say why somebody can't have treatment, but like Rachel said, this was a young girl, and our country couldn't support her.
No, it's tragic. Yeah. I've suffered this personally before with my godson, who was only 2, so I can only have some kind of empathy with what the family are going through. Yeah. And all I can say is all our love from here. And the only saving grace, really, for Kelly is where she is now. She's not feeling pain. And that's the only thing I can think of. I really can.
Think of it this way, though. She has actually brought desmoplastic, the cancer that she had.
Yeah, small round cell cancer, yeah.
Yeah, she's brought that to the public attention. The Consumer Watch Foundation. I'm not making capital out of this by saying this, but we have a big piece on her. We've carried a couple of stories on her, and at least the world now knows a bit about this disease.
Yep.
Much in the way that it's 18 months ago, nobody knew about parental alienation, things like that,
which we will cover later. Yeah,
do some good.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on, Arno says. That's too fast, Eric, for my new Christmas single. I have to write it yet. Right. Miranda says, hi, Eric. Just boarded. That's very anorak, you know.
But people don't say hello to Leigh and I. We must be like the trolls who live under the bridge or something.
Yeah, I think so. Have a good weekend, so will we, with some kind of really naughty smile that she's got. I have no idea what that means. My old buddy Joe Ibrahim says, hi, Eric. Are they still letting you play presenter? Great work. Keep it up. Hi to Mark Anthony, to John Cothier and Arnie Wright as well. We move on to a lovely fella who sadly passed away, Antonio Galuccio, the chef and restaurateur. He was a lovely fella, wasn't he?
He was funny. He played on the fact that he was Italian, and he presented himself as just a real Italian. He was very funny, very charming, very affable, big smile, big red face, good, and he had a good time. And sadly, he's died.
Yeah, he has indeed. But he's got a good legacy there.
Who has?
Antonio.
He's left a legacy.
Yeah,
like a legacy of lamb.
No, like legacy of TV shows.
Oh, right, can't eat them, though.
No, that's very true. Oh, apparently I was too fast for Arno. He meant the address. He wrote, I mean the address, Eric.
The sender.
Yeah, get you. Right, ready, Arno? Ready? Ready? Arno, have you got your pen? Here we go.
Yeah,
Studio at rti.fm.
That's where we work.
That's got to be slow enough, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've also got Dennis Michael, and Joe has joined us. We're wishing Joe all the best for his other half's treatment in hospital. She's another cancer sufferer, I'm afraid. But Joe, keep smiling, man. That's Joe Meadows. He's over in Bedford with Millie, and they are good guys in Bedford Hospital. I'll tell you that guy. German actress Karin Dor. She was one of the. Oh, I was in love.
Was you?
Yeah.
What Dor?
She was in the Bond film Only Live Twice.
What did you do twice?
I'm having to keep my hands sort of on the table here.
Wave at the camera.
I'm waving at the camera. I'm waving at both cameras, just to we be gored.
Yeah.
She was lovely.
Nobody said hello to her.
She was lovely.
Oh, pardon?
You and your Bond girls, you guys are funny.
What,
I've not been sexist. It was him.
What do you mean? It was me. She was beautiful.
I was just protecting this show.
Yeah, right.
It was about where your hands were. I just got no idea what you're
Hello to Joss and Ivan, who's over in Zilina at the moment, who says, hello, Eric. And I think he means, hello, Eric, Rachel and Leigh, really.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You're just making that up to make us feel better.
I did.
And we don't.
Don't you feel any better?
No, we sulky.
But I am caring about you see.
Ooh.
I know. You know what? I would really be caring. Don't ring me at 3:30 a.m.
Don't forget to send the list.
Yeah, but you see, the trouble is, you always say that at this time of day it's really late. So I figured that sort of like several hours later in the afternoon for me, that then you'd be getting up time.
It's the middle of the night. It's 3. Well, officially, when you rang me, it was 3 a.m.
Right.
I'm sorry, Rachel. He has hoisted you by your own petard.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Something like that.
So funny.
We're moving on to another story. Ivan has qualified it, guys. He says, yes, hello to you all.
Oh, thanks. That's
nice.
No, I'm not accepting it. No, we are an afterthought. We are an afterthought.
No.
And
we were a thought.
He just said to us all. That could mean everybody who's listening to the show. No, sorry.
That would be very nice. If he was saying hello to everybody in the RTI family right now, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, but he didn't.
I'd take it.
I'd take it. Hello to Penny. And now I've got a problem with this story, which I'll come to later. And it's about this poor lady who's died after suffering from an eating disorder and mental health problems. Mm-hmm. She was discovered dead at her home, or found dead when the people went in. She was freezing cold. Apparently she was wrapped in a coat and scarf because she couldn't afford to put the heating on. I have a problem with that.
Why?
Because the electricity companies have all got a duty of care now not to switch stuff off. Now, they are all accepting that there are issues where people go over the top on their accounts, they work towards getting it sorted, blah, 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 blah. Now, I can't fathom what was going through this poor lady's head at the time, because we can't. We don't know if anybody was supporting her. And before anybody jumps on my head for saying this, it can't always be the state that supports.
Yes, well, there is a point to this story which it isn't made clear, but I first exposed this kind of happening more than 15 years ago, and what it generally is, and it's not made clear in this story, but I believe this is what happened, that the powers that be, the power companies, actually abrogated responsibility for cutting people off. That's it. They don't do it. What they did was put you a meter in where if you couldn't afford it, you literally cut yourself off. If you couldn't afford power, so they had no responsibility. You didn't put money in your meter because you didn't have any money, therefore you had no power. That was an abrogation of responsibility. I reported on that 15 years ago, and it's still happening now. And it's
I agree. But where I have a problem with this is this poor woman was on her own.
Yeah.
She was looking after children on her own.
Yeah.
And then... And I'm not chastising the family at all. I'm just at a loss as to why somebody from the family didn't pop round and make sure she was okay.
Well, possibly they did. You know, you don't really know. Again, I don't think this is a very well carried out story at all. It leaves so many gaps.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, the simple fact is that certain people believe that they and want to carry on for themselves, and within society you have the right to do that. You certainly though shouldn't pay for that decision with your own life. And yet this woman, one way or the other, despite the fact that she got children who were going to school, everything else, and what she'd do, apparently she would turn the power off to save it for when her children came home. Yep. That's the vulnerability and power of this story. Tragedy.
But that also opens another question, because even where she lived, it's not sub-zero at the moment.
No.
So, you know...
She was ill. She had an eating disorder.
Yes.
And you've got an eating disorder.
That's going to exacerbate it all.
It does affect, in particular, it affects your organs, in particular your heart.
Yep.
And that's a lot of what people die from with eating disorders is heart failure.
This is true.
And if you've got a mental illness and somebody bangs on your door, you have a tendency not to answer. I mean, people used to bang on my door all the time when I was bonkers, and I just used to yell out, "Go away!" or just not answer the door. But I mean, there's so many questions we just don't know.
No, we don't, and that's the problem, isn't it?
Well, there's three quotes in this story which are very, very telling. The Welfare Weekly first ran the story, and their headline is very telling because it says, "How many have to die before this government realises they're killing vulnerable people?" Now, the second most telling point is that MP Derek Twigg is now working with the family. And so it's a very tragic case, and I'm providing assistance to my constituent. Why were we providing it before, Derek?
Right.
And then the Department of Work and Pensions say, "Our thoughts are with Mrs. Morrell's family at this difficult time. Why weren't you thinking about her before?"
Yeah.
This is always going to be a problem, and this is where I suffer a bit, Leigh, to be honest, because I understand the UK. Christ, I was there for long enough, and yet when you come here, there's the family unit is so much stronger here that family does look after family.
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm kind of raising. Have the values gone that far out in the UK now that family doesn't look after family?
Family doesn't look after family. When Maggie Thatcher, I can't remember, Heseltine, I think it was, demanded that we got on our bikes and went to work and found work all over the country, the family started to get dissipated. People, I live 60 miles away from part of my family, 180 miles away from another member of my family, 4,000 miles away from, no, 12,000 miles away from another member of my family. And in Britain, that's what's happened. The families break up. And it's because, actually, what it was, we had a society which looked after your elderly and your young. The people in the middle were supposed to look after themselves, but that's what we had, a society who looked after people. And so we felt secure to move on and build a life for ourselves elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Now it doesn't. Things like this are happening too often, and it's an absolutely incredible horror story.
Let me ask. You're
kilometres away.
Go on, Rach, you go.
I moved 800 kilometres away from my family, and they're eternally grateful that I did.
Yeah, there is that too. But I mean, come on, let's check it out. The worst case scenario for you that's reasonable is a couple of 100 kilometres away, or 180 miles to you. Now, if that family person over there was in dire straits, I cannot believe for the life of me that you would sit there and go, "Oh, it's 180 miles away." You'd go.
No, but you don't have that connection there. The connection is broken, really. But
the point is, you would go, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say in return is the fact that not necessarily do you tell your family what is bothering you, and you don't know that it's going to. You don't talk about it. The other point is that, like I say, not everybody's friendly with the families. Their families break up, and if they're round the corner, you'll look after them. If you're 180 miles away, the responsibility isn't as strong if you don't particularly like the people. You don't like your family.
True, but I'm absolutely with you on this article, Leigh, that there's too many open-ended questions for anybody like us to pontificate. So I think we'll move on. And we're going to hand the airwaves over. No, I'm going to say hello to somebody first. Hello to Chris Cooper. Hello to Jenny Hyde from lovely Shillington. Hi to Abdella. Have a good weekend, mate. And Stephen Parsons has just joined us as Rachel takes over in Melbourne. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still didn't say hello to you, Rach.
This was a horrible story and then a wonderful story. On the morning television shows a couple of days ago, we had this picture of this man and his little girl, his little 4-year-old daughter, looking horribly sad because they'd been robbed in the middle of the night. And what these terrible thieves had done, they took the jewellery and the iPad and the usual things, but they took her 8-week-old puppy, her 8-week-old Labrador puppy that she'd had for a week, this little girl, this 4-year-old girl, who'd slept with her, and it was her best friend, and and they took it. They stole the puppy. So all the news stations carried this story, beseeching this thief just to give the puppy back. They didn't want their stuff back. They didn't care about their stuff, but they wanted this puppy back. And yesterday morning, they looked out in the backyard, and there was little Sasha, the puppy, bounding around in the backyard, and it got given back. And this poor little girl, Maya, she's 4 years old. She didn't understand what was happening. She was so excited to see her puppy, but I was watching them being interviewed, and there was Dad and little Maya, and he said, "Do you want to talk about Sasha?" And she just put her head down and shook her head. "No, I don't want to talk about Sasha. Sasha's gone." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is horrible." But some criminal with a conscience has plonked this pup in the middle of the night, plonked this puppy back in the backyard from whence it was taken, and now Sasha and Maya have been reunited.
Brilliant.
Yay.
What sort of dog was it? Do we know?
It was a golden Labrador.
See, I wondered, was it a really awkward dog? Was it a really naughty puppy? And he just got fed up with it and brought it back? Or what? But the Labrador
Who knows?
Yeah, nice dog.
A vet said that it had been watered and fed and it had been cared for. So they weren't the really, really awful criminals. They're the sort of criminals that'll break and enter and take your stuff. But they're not the really naughty ones who'd be cruel to animals. They plonked it back and everything was all right.
Yeah. Talking of cruelty to animals, as we plough on, this annoys me because all of a sudden there's been a task force set up because there's been over 360 deaths of cats, foxes, rabbits in the Greater London area since 2015. I'm going to sit here and say this. When I lived in Orpington, which is Bromley Borough Council, back in it was the late 90s, I wandered up towards the school. I was going to pick my kids up from school. As I walked up the road, I found a cat's tail laying in the middle of the path. Now, this had clearly been, the same kind of thing that the Met Police are now talking about now. There is an organisation called SNAL, which is South Norwood Animal Rescue Liberty, who work very closely with the RSPCA and Scotland Yard. When I phoned Bromley Council up, they said, you should take it home and put it in the bin. Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
Yeah, all right.
And she said, I said, I'm not picking it up. It might have something contagious on it. I said, there is part of a dead animal, but we don't have to deal with cats because they're not licensed. If it was a dog, we'd do something different. But it's a cat, so we don't have to do anything. Why don't you just throw it to the side of the road? I am not throwing it to the side of the road. Anyway, I had this huge argument, which resulted in the final words that Mr. Banks will be very proud of me for. This girl said to me, I said, you do realise I'm a member of the press, don't you know? At which point everything changed. And before I got to the top of the road, there was a vehicle from Bromley Council slowly driving up the road looking for this poor cat's tail that had been chopped off.
But isn't this really such a terrifying, awful story that actually, yes. I did this story more than 20 years ago about animals being mutilated. Why do we mutilate animals? I live in a farming community, and why are we still getting horses that are being attacked, cows that are being attacked? Why are people attacking animals and mutilating them? And
I'll tell you why.
The reason given in Britain, and if it's true, is very frightening, that it is actually that we have very strong Satanist covenants working in this country as we speak.
Could be.
I love these. I love books about serial killers. It says a lot about me right there by the reading material. But they were talking about children who start off with things like mutilating animals and lighting fire.
Yeah,
it's us, and it's and then that escalates and escalates. But Jeffrey Dahmer was known to mutilate animals and be fascinated by the anatomy of it. And then, of course, he turned into. But it's one of those things that escalates. If you start lighting fires or you start being cruel to animals, it's a telltale sign that you are in for bigger problems down the road. So,
yeah, absolutely.
It's scary. Very scary.
Can I just... the reason I put this story in is I will ask you this because you have to be careful when you see these circumstances going on. Actually, Dave's just written in. He says, we woke up to find bits of a fox in the back garden. It had been in a bit of an argument with another fox, we think, and the environmental health team came round and removed the body. Good. That's what they should do. And what I would do is, Dave's hit the nail on the head. If you see anything like this, report it to your environmental health team as quickly as you see it, because you never know, the person that's done this atrocity could still be in the area. It gives the police a chance to catch them. So if you do see anything bad, environmental health, get onto there. Don't dial 999, for goodness sake. Dial your local direct police numbers, which happen to vary all over Europe and the world, so I'm not going to give one out or the other. But just report it to environmental health. They know where it's at. They can report it to the police, and maybe we can catch one or two of them. That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Isn't that a fact, though? That the simple fact is that in one borough, there were 180 incidents within each over a year of animals being mutilated. That's in one borough.
I know,
We've got
shocking.
the country to go at. And do you know that, in fact, I know this because I did the stories about it, like I say, that in fact, as far as I'm aware, only 2 people have ever been done in the British Isles
Correct.
for this.
Yeah, I agree. Let's finish part 1 on a good bit of news. This is from Germany, and this is a little lad who had a rare, incurable disease, okay? And it was a skin disease, and the little 9-year-old boy was from Syria originally. He was absolutely terminally ill, and it's a special, which I can't even say the name of the darn thing, epidermolysis, I think. Something like that, bullosa. And anyway, it caused him to lose the majority of his outer skin, which means you're just open to so many nasty things you're going to die. It caused blisters and sores and terrible situation. These doctors at a hospital in Bochum in Germany have actually created a kind of like, I don't know how you describe it, a new skin.
Yeah, it's like a synthetic skin. They grew it from a gene pool or some description. It's amazing. And now he's got a brand new skin, and it's not going to decay. And the great thing about it, because of the way they made it, his body won't reject it. So straight away, A+ to these doctors in Germany. It's fantastic stuff. Science is cool.
It is, isn't it lovely when science does something good like this?
Of course it is. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, really good. We've got to take a break, boys and girls. We'll be back here faster than you can drink that cup of tea that you're going to go for. Don't, just stay here for a minute. Don't go away.
RTI.
Everybody okay? Remember your training, all right?
RNLI lifeboat crews are unpaid volunteers. They rescue 22 people every day. On a lifeboat, training is a matter of life and death, and it costs £1,000 a year for each crew member. As a charity, we receive no UK government funding, so our crew's safety depends entirely on your donations. Please call 0800 543 210 and donate £20 or whatever you can afford. Because next time, this could be for real.
RTI. The station of the stars.
I won't get it.
RTI.
Whoops, that caught Rachel talking when she wasn't expecting me to catch her talking. Never mind, she'll be behaved now and giggling, you see. They were nattering away in the middle of the break on their own. Just listening to the work that the wonderful RNLI do, just to notify you that tomorrow at 12 noon Central European Time, at 11 o'clock in the UK, RTI will be paying tribute to our fallen heroes with a 2-minute silence from London. And we seriously hope that every broadcaster that has any form of connection will do the same thing. And if you don't, do you know what? Shame on you. Shame on you.
They do it here. We do it here too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This sounds like a story that would be more befitting to Leigh than anybody else. But even though it was a woman, he's not had a transgender operation. A woman was pulled over by the police, that sounds like Leigh, in the Tampa Bay area of Florida. That could be Leigh. After riding a horse down the road whilst drunk.
That's still in charge. You're still in charge of a vehicle.
She might not have been able to walk, though. Maybe she was being sensible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, is it classified as a motor vehicle in Tampa Bay?
Well,
Right. Horses? I suppose it's got horsepower, hasn't it?
it's considered a vehicle. It's a mode of transportation, and you can't operate a mode of transportation when you're inebriated. It's
How
the
do you
law.
think you can be done for being drunk in charge of a horse in the UK as well?
You can, can't you?
I am absolutely convinced you can.
Yes, you can. You can.
No,
And
West you could, but not now.
It's no excuse.
No, actually, you just reminded me.
He's off again, Rach.
No. I remember a guy who used to come to the pub on a horse thinking he could get away with it with a beer. And actually an off-duty policeman told him, no, that's not true. You can still get done.
Yeah, it's a vehicle. It's a mode of transportation. You can't operate a mode when you're inebriated.
There you go. Then. So, Darth Lady.
Your horse in the pub and it gets drunk as well.
Right.
It's much safer for you to walk home and then stagger into the middle of the highway and get clobbered by a car.
Or clobbered by your horse.
Yeah, because it's drunk and they get out of control, drunken horses.
Yes. I'm going to move on.
Away.
Anyway, so that's a bit of a silly one. Here we go. This is one of my horrible cliches of the week. Yes! 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 The force is...
saying that.
The force is with us 3 more times.
Calm down, Paul Brown. Remain calm, Paul Brown.
Paul Brown. Did you see what I did there? Did you get it? There's 3 more films, and I said, yes. No, it didn't work, did it?
I didn't get it.
No. The great news is a new trilogy is going to be shot of the Star Wars universe. It's been confirmed today.
Nice.
It's
good news. I like these films. I've always loved these films. I remember seeing the first one in the cinema when I was about 8 or something, and
I thought you said you were going to be an embryo.
How many have you been? How many are there?
Oh,
7, 8. There's 8.
9 films. And then another 3, that's
9,
12.
yeah.
That's called milking it.
No, that's called a great product being warmly received by its fans.
It's called milking a basic idea.
No, it's called an endearing and long-standing franchise.
Yes.
And it's exactly what it is. And it's a marvellous thing for generations. Like Paul and I, we grew up on these films. They were enormously impactful on our childhoods. Mm-hmm. And all these characters
when they first came out, they were really good.
Yeah. And then, of course, as we went along, we still got excited about it, and I think it's wonderful. I'm very excited.
I have to confess, Rach, when the last one came out, I was kind of nervous.
I was a bit too.
Yeah, because I thought it's not going to match up. It's not going to stand up to the quality that's in my head. No. But then, when I watched it,
I blew my.
Yeah, but you have to accept the quality inside your head isn't very high.
Now, this is coming from a guy who listens to some dribbly dude called Dylan. Who's
exactly. Some manic depressive. Yes.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. Anyway, talking of milking it.
No, not him.
This is what I call milking it. Justin Bieber, The Weeknd and Eminem. They've started to release tracks on rotten, horrible, outdated, boring cassettes.
Why?
Nobody can play them.
But they will. What you're not getting is
don't have the equipment to play them. Their demographic that they're selling to don't have the equipment to play them. And do you know 2 of these guys dated Selena Gomez, which is really funny.
I know, but what they're doing, just like vinyl, is that they are milking it for the old gits who will go out and buy this rubbish, not realising that when you buy a cassette, you have to go into a stationery shop first.
Excuse me, I want to defend all the old kids. Why would you buy a Justin Bieber record?
You need to buy a pencil so you can rewind it when it jams.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's true.
But no oldie's going to go and buy a Justin Bieber because that's not going to happen.
Well, they probably will because they'll buy it for their daughter. I've got to do a couple more quick hellos. David to Monica, Paul, Evelyn.
Each other say hello to each other now.
David and to Margaret Coleman, the lovely Margaret Coleman. And Elvin is up in Scandinavia, actually.
Cool.
Which is really cool. A concerned pensioner, I love this story, alerted police to what he thought was a Second World War bomb. But it wasn't. It was in his garden. But guess what it was?
I know what it was.
Was it?
It was a large courgette.
Oh, sorry.
Was it a stingray courgette?
Anybody in my part of the world that doesn't know what that is, because I didn't for a long time, it's what we refer to as a zucchini.
A what-y?
It is, a zucchini. I didn't know.
That's what America calls it.
Do you shave your zucchini?
Australia calls it.
Ah, right. Okay, I think. Anyway, this thing weighed about 5 kilos, and everybody thought it was real. And they even got the bomb disposal unit out.
If you're not sure, ask for the feds, man, because let's say it wasn't a courgette/zucchini and he put his spade through it and blew himself to kingdom come. I think it was very, very smart of him to check it out. When you're not sure,
you could have just had
dig.
a quick bite to see what it was.
Again,
yes.
Blown to kingdom come just by biting a thing that
It was courgette. It can't blow.
But he looked like
he didn't know that.
He didn't look like a bomb. It looked like a courgette.
He didn't know that before he rang them. He thought
How
it was
would
a bomb.
he not know like a courgette? Even I know what a courgette looks like.
Listen,
No,
you
he's
see...
80 years old.
Hang on, Mr. Banks. You go out into your garden in the morning...
Yeah.
And you look at the bottom of your garden, and all of a sudden, there's this vast cylindrical object that wasn't there the night before. You didn't plant it there, because obviously somebody had thrown it over the fence. And you just look, and you think, what the heck is that?
Well, if it had
He wouldn't even know what it was,
No.
Uncle Eric. He's so
you'd be able
tall.
to see.
No, Uncle Leigh is so tall that he needs a telescope to even see what's on the ground.
True.
He's 5,000 feet tall. He wouldn't know what's on the ground.
Nope. You'd see it was green, it was out of shape, and those fins at the end were actually where it had been cut off. You say, that's a courgette. Who's put a courgette at the bottom of my garden? Cheeky monkey. Somebody might know.
81 years old.
No.
What if the 81-year-old man had cataracts or something?
That's true. He wouldn't be
Well,
able to see
not saying
properly.
at his age, should he?
Probably should.
You're in trouble now. I didn't know about this, which is why I've highlighted it. Do you know people that worked in the Vatican City were getting cheap cigarettes up until recently?
Well,
Yeah.
bet you want to
I
be
heard
told
this on the
now,
news
don't
this
you?
morning. The only thing that's smoking is that chimney when they elect a new one.
Yeah, that's right. But apparently this actually what is happening now, and the ban's going to come into place in 2018. Cigarettes are about 50 cents cheaper in the Vatican City compared to other parts of Italy due to a lack of sales tax in the Vatican.
Yeah.
That's because they're all putting stuff in their own coffers. Don't even start me on the topic.
That's very rude. That's very rude, Rachel.
Is
I
it?
don't care.
She really doesn't care. A man has been arrested in Texas after driving his car into a lake and trying to swim away from officers following him on a police chase. What a numpty!
Criminal stories. What a
Well,
numpty.
again, here you go. He was seen throwing himself out of the car window. How big was the car window?
Ginormous. It's an SUV.
Well, it's like you don't throw yourself out of it, do you? You crawl out of it.
Well, you kind of
Swim out of it. You don't throw yourself out of
Yeah.
it. You're not on top of a tower block.
You emerge from it. You
You
don't-
emerge.
Yes. He came through the window. Does that make you happy?
It's like I'm getting all these. What was that lady's name back in
It's the
that
title.
old lady who made Esther Williams. I'm getting visions of Esther Williams in her bathing caps and all the synchronized swimmers of this guy sort of plummeting and then flying through the air out of his window. Come on, man. What are you
Right.
doing?
Let's get on to something where we've actually done something. Because
Oh, good.
we
do.
Well, we don't often do stuff that works out.
I never do. I don't do anything.
But allegedly we have done this time because we did really. Several years ago, you'd have heard. Well, you'd probably both remember it, and some people may remember me ranting on about the BBC cutting budgets at local radio stations and networking them all together in the evening.
Terrible.
Now, I am not a fan of BBC local stations. I have worked on just about, I think, everyone in the UK. The reason I don't like them is because I think
That's rubbish.
well, whoever programs them wants shooting. I don't think it's necessarily the presentation
Well
people.
said.
It's awful. Anyway, the great news is that after much toing and froing and a huge online campaign taking place, which was a campaign page that we launched, which is really cool, the BBC have scrapped the idea of the £10 million cuts to Lord Hall. However, there's a little problem,
Ooh.
which nobody yet has really sussed out. Because Lord Hall has said he's very passionate about local programming because that's all to do with the way the BBC started. Yeah, all right, then, whatever. Not that I believe that one way or another. But he's actually quoted as saying that the local radio station should involve everybody, and that includes, and I quote, the Facebook generation.
Yeah.
Well,
That's impressive.
that is not going to work well
No.
when they're playing Vera Lynn singing Twist and Shout, is it?
No, it's not.
Absolutely right. What their demographic is absolutely ludicrous. Here's a quick example. I'm not going to name the people because they think they're doing well. I'm not even going to name the station, but it's a station, BBC station, not a million miles from me, and it's not Radio Shropshire. And they have a new, what they describe as personality attitude towards the presenters. And they bring in what they class as personality presenters. The main personality presenter on this particular station has adopted the attitude that what you do from the moment you say, hello, everybody, you start to laugh. And your guests laugh. And all you do for 2 hours is laugh. That's not personality. That's stupidity.
Mm-hmm. With all those stupid sound effects and stuff like that.
It's like a pretend...
Say
anything funny. They could be talking about something absolutely horrendous, and all of a sudden they'll just burst into laughter. All 3 or 4 of them, all laughing together, and they think that's wonderful radio. That isn't wonderful radio. That's stupid radio.
It sounds like a pantomime on radio.
It is. And that's a good description of local radio. It's a complete pantomime. It plays music from 60 years ago. It talks about banalities. It doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't have any edge, and it thinks that laughing makes other people laugh. It doesn't. It drives people mad.
So you're not a fan then?
No. I
don't think he likes it, Uncle Eric. I don't think he likes it at all.
No, I don't, mate. I think you could be right there. You know how often I get very upset when large budgets are given to universities and places to explore the obvious?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's been another one this week, and it was sent in by Uncle Leigh.
I can't remember what it is either.
It's the story about scientists say a tinfoil hat for your router boosts signal and security.
Router.
Stop it! Rachel Brunsden!
Every time.
I know. Oh, dear. That is so Aussie speak, isn't it?
But do you know a word was banned by the majority of the English press for the same reason, and that was probe. You couldn't have a probe into a certain thing because it was seen as being very rude, and now it's started to slip back in the probe.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, excuse me. And I was going to be all scientific and say about space probes, but then you went off into one.
No, not space probes. No probes are allowed.
Oh, my
Tell us about the router, Uncle Eric. What's going on with the router?
Anyway, we'll go down this road then. Leigh's wireless internet device, rather than calling it a router again. Oh dear. Anyway, sorry, people. Sorry. I nearly lost it there for a minute. But the daft thing is, this piece of research has just come out, okay?
Yeah.
And when did you try it?
I did. I've done it. It's brilliant. It works like I made a 3D printed reflector that looks like a tinfoil hat and set it on the head of my router, and it's been brilliant ever since.
And when did I tell you to do that on the radio?
He's making this up.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Why did you?
Yes.
When did you tell me?
Ages and ages ago.
Did it ages and ages ago? Yeah. See, perfect.
Not now.
No, I did it ages ago. When you told me to do it, Eric, you know I jumped.
But the point I'm making is, you didn't do it now this week.
No.
And the scientists have spent all this ruddy money designing this tinfoil hat that's a V-shaped thing that you can make with a piece of tinfoil.
It's an organ accumulator, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Leigh?
That's what an organ accumulator is. It's a triangular, like hex, whatever that shape is, and it creates power, and it increases your health and vitality, and so this works as an organ accumulator for your router.
Leigh?
Yes.
But basic laws of physics,
He's on
Leigh.
again.
Leigh, have you ever looked at a modern television aerial?
I once put my television aerial, my aerial fell off the roof, and I went up, stuck it down the chimney, and it worked perfectly. You don't have it strapped down the thing, and also it's better than any handheld device that changes station, because as soon as the wind blew, it started to spin, and the stations changed continuously.
Oh, right. Well, there's a reason there's a V-shaped bit on a television aerial.
You need a V-shape for your router, don't you?
Yeah, this is exactly the reflector that they have on a television aerial. It's been the laws of physics for decades and decades and years, and blah, 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 and now they're spending money to do it.
Recently.
Oh, what a waste of money.
Don't muck around with the router.
Get your hand off the router.
And it's your
The
fault.
router's alive.
Wait to the camera with both hands so we can see you've got... Yes.
Okay. Anyway, it's your fault, Mr. Banks.
Oh, no, not again.
Well, you put the story in, not me.
Which?
The one about the wireless device.
The router? That's because I didn't make her laugh.
And you were right.
Most people think Donald Trump's an idiot. Pauses.
That's
I do.
pretty fair.
We pause for that. But apparently, he's a bit of a genius.
Easy.
He got a Twitter out when he was in China.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his router.
130 characters.
Yes, he did. I wonder if he used any bigger
What did you
characters.
say?
They've got his own. He's got his own gear on board Air Force One.
Yeah, but he would still be using the net access unless he was using it on Air Force One. You're right. But if he was just wandering around somewhere, he'd be using the access in China, which typically bans Twitter and basically any foreign social media networks.
That's right. Of course, that's why we put the story in. I've just remembered.
He'd be on a plane. He'd be on Air Force One. He's not wandering around downtown Beijing trying to get a tweet out. I mean, he's going to say, "I've got to be able to get on my
It's up for the girl, yeah.
Well, apparently he even included a clip from ABC News of the ceremonial reception. Now, how he did that, he must
No,
have...
he didn't do anything. His minions were on board Air Force One doing all that because he's not smart enough to do it.
Okay, all right. Well, we're going to have to run. We're going to have to run through the next ones. That's for sure. On the other side of the fence, he's ordered 3 carriers to go and play war games up near
Bags for life.
Kim Jong.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Now we're talking about real Donald Trump intelligence. Let's move some subs right next to North Korea.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
But he did say China can fix the problem easily and quickly.
They keep saying that, but they don't.
But they could.
They could if they
want a
wanted to.
Because
Why would they want to be friends with that naughty Mr. Trump who keeps upsetting them?
Backpedaled badly and he had to do some
Well, I
major
suppose
bumps.
what a lot of people don't realise is they are massive trading partners in that China owns so much of America, it's obscene.
Absolutely.
Well, they're one of our biggest.
Yeah.
They're one. I think they are our largest.
Yeah.
Trading.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and they've got one of the largest armies on planet Earth. Nobody wants to mess with them.
No. Absolutely not. Moving along quickly, the interest rates are probably going to go up again. Do you know, a moron could do this.
Yeah.
A moron.
The show.
No, this story.
Well, we've proven that.
Yeah, numpties of the world unite. Postcard from Poprad. The fact is that if anybody wasted time writing an article that says the interest rate's going to go up again soon at the Bank of England, they would have to have the brain cell of an amoeba to know otherwise. It's just bonkers.
Why?
Because it's
Maybe
obvious.
Some wrote it.
So what you say is that the whole of the world has to just assume. Nobody will tell them. No, it's not worth telling them. They'll just have to assume that ultimately interest rates will go up. And really, those naughty newspaper people shouldn't have written a story saying that, isn't it strange how 9 of the largest banks in the country haven't actually passed on any of the interest rates to savers. No, they shouldn't have read that. You could tell that out looking at your bank account. Oh, we didn't get that interest rate rise, darling. No, we didn't. I wonder if anybody else knows. No, we don't want to tell anybody. No, you're quite right. Ridiculous bit of reporting.
Correct.
It is, and everybody knows that they're not going to go up for at least a year. So
that's right.
Well, they are. They are now. That's the thing.
They're not.
They are
ours are going to.
Well, it shouldn't be the story because it'll tell you things like that.
You're talking over each other again.
That's because she won't shut up.
Just because I've got the drag queen voice, don't bully me. It's just,
Can you do it quickly for us, Rach? I'll go. You say the words Leigh Banks, and then I'll go 3, 2, 1, and you say it. Okay.
Okay.
Right. 3, 2, 1.
Leigh Banks.
I'll cut that out later. Anyway.
I always think we could all do a version of what I was born under the wandering star.
Yeah, that'll do the one. Hello, Mick Carter. How the devil are you?
Where have you been?
Mick says hi.
Hi.
And
mate.
Mick, I worry about you.
We do, mate.
We do worry about Mick. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Why?
He's become a fan.
I know.
Oh, well, he's a normal, natural, fun-loving guy. Of course he's a fan. He's just late.
I better do some of the comments here because Joe says, what's wrong with the music from 60 years ago?
It's nothing.
Absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just that you don't expect to be able to listen to it from 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning through till 6 o'clock in the next morning. There is other music about.
Oh, and apparently some of the best music came from the 50s, says Joe.
Of course it did. You're quite right, Joe. Listen to my show. Play a lot of 50s music.
Really great music came along from the 1800s, but I don't want to spend all my time listening to that either.
No.
Yeah. And it's also...
Do you know, Joe, this is the only time we have to bring a special play-out unit into the studio. We've got it sort of taped down to a Zimmer frame just for Lee's programme.
That's an absolute lie. I play music from the 20s right through till this year. Listen to the shows, it's really good. What about Leo Frick? There's a bloke called Leo Frick who actually feeds us really, really modern music.
This is true. This is very true. I want to do this. I want to get this story in because currently the Leigh. No, I'm going to just. You got 2 minutes max. Off you go, Dads.
What? Yeah, it's a really interesting story. We've got to remember what Dads Against Humble Standards is. And that's an organisation which is fighting for mothers, grandparents, fathers, and most of all, fighting for the children who have been caught in the trap of parental alienation. And next week, the members of Dads, led by Andrew John Teague, who's been doing all sorts of things like marching on London, marching to the top of Snowdon to get the thing noticed, which is being noticed all the time in the Consumer Watch Foundation. And now he's leading a march in Hull. And it's just a funny little story in as much that you can, if you go to the Consumer Watch Foundation, you can see the actual picture. They drew a map of their route on their route round Hull on Google Maps, and it spells out the word dance.
Sorry, John. Sorry, John. Honestly, what John does is wonderful. It's just that we're not going to have any sense out of this one word this week, are we?
What?
Sorry, it's really late. I'm so cold.
Actually, I think AJ has gone round to Rachel's house, if you were here at the beginning, and he didn't take round peppermint tea. I think he took round a kind of psychedelic tea.
I don't know about you, but the pink elephant in the room agrees with you.
That's where he is. He's usually with me. I knew he'd move.
Yeah, he got fed up with the shark in your front room. But that's another story. Rach, what are you up to this weekend?
I'm just going to sit here and die.
No, don't die.
No, I'm just going to try and get rid of this cold. It's just it's ridiculous. We're moving into summer, and I always get a cold when the season changes.
This is true.
And it's boring. I don't enjoy it at all. So I'm going to spend a whole lot of time doing nothing.
Oh, okay, well, that works all right for me then. Uncle Leigh?
I'm going to carry on. I'm going to put a radiator cover up on. No, I don't mean a cover up over a radiator. A cover up on a radiator.
Ooh.
Nice.
I know. I have to say something very quickly because this is just for Rachel. This doesn't involve you, Mr. Wiltshire. This is just for Rachel.
Right.
Just for Rachel alone. Right. Are you ready, Rachel? Here it comes.
Yes.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Uncle Leigh.
There, finally, somebody said hello to us.
I know.
Marvellous. Time to say goodbye, Sooty.
Goodbye, Sooty. Bye-bye.
That was Postcard from Poprad for another week. Thanks ever so much for your company, and thank you ever so much for all the contributions as well. We greatly appreciate them. It's the lovely Steve up next on Radio Tatras International, your station of the stars, RTI.